Hey folks, End All Be All here with a guide video this time, and today we're going to be talking about bounty hunters, specifically the Mando Execute team with and without Zam. It's a very popular team. This is a team which has been used to take out quite a few tough teams in the past before and quickly snipe them. But with the addition of Zam Omicron in GAC, it's thrown a wrench in terms of the turn order. So today I want to be talking about what that change is, what the problem is, and how to fix it. So let's go ahead and get started with it. Now, before Zam or before the Omnicron rather, the way that you would set up your bounty hunter team, and typically you would have the four main characters would be Boss, Grief, Mando, and Aura, and the fifth could be anyone that you really want, Boba or Dengar or anyone else. But the way that you set up the turn order is you would have Boss the fastest and Grief the second fastest, and then do two mass assists with them, and that will enable you to get to the bounty hunter contract. So the turn of orders would be your Boss would go first since he would be the fastest. He would taunt, and then Grief, being the second fastest, would do the mass assist. And since five characters are buffed under Aura lead, you would get 50% of your contract fulfilled by then. And because Grief has used a special ability, Boss having Frenzy will go again, and then will basically fulfill the contract. One important thing to note is that the mass assist from Grief, what it would do is call everyone to assist using their basic, and if Mando crits on his basic, then he himself gets 30% turn meter, and he gives all of his allies 15% turn meter. So that effectively gets him to a much higher speed and allows him to go fast. The way that this team would work is if you want Boss to go faster than Mando, then you would need to clock Mando at about 85% or less speed than Bosk. Then what would happen is you can see over here, Bosk would get 15% turn meter on a 323 speed, and he would be effectively 380 speed. My Mando is at 263 speed, getting 30% turn meter. You divide that by 0.7, and he would be at 376 effective speed. So the way to get your Bosk faster than Mando to enable him to take a turn next is to have him approximately 85% or less speed as Bosk. Once you've got that clocked right, what you would do is you would have, Boss would go next. He would do a mass assist again. And since all five characters are buffed, you have another five contribution to the contract, and you would have the contract fulfilled by then. 50% mass assist from Grief, 50% from Bosk, and since Mando has crit, he's very close to going next. He would go next, and he would have his contract fulfilled when he goes, and he's able to immediately snipe someone on the enemy team. The other characters really doesn't matter whether in what order they go. One quick note over here, you'll find that Aura is not 15% turn meter gain. It's actually 35% turn meter gain. The way that happens is Aura's basic allows her to gain 20% turn meter if she's attacking an enemy that is debuffed. So if, for example, Boss managed to land the taunt or land the stun, or if the enemy that you're mass assisting is debuffed, then Aura has a slight chance to go before Mando, just because she's gaining tons of turn meter in addition to the 15% turn meter that Mando's unique gives. But that's really not important. Doesn't matter if Aura goes before Mando or after Mando. Important thing is the two mass assists happen with Grief and Bosk, and Mando's contract is fulfilled when it's his first turn. That's extremely important. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with the Zam Omicron and why that's an issue, why the turn meter for so many people's bounty hunter teams is getting screwed up. So with what Zam Omicron does is it gives her an extra 20% speed. So my Zam, for example, is at 320 speed. In GAC, she would be at 384 speed, so another 20% on top of that. And that 384, 20% of that, which is 77, is what she gives to each of her bounty hunter allies. So the effective speed is what you see in this column over here. My Boss is still the fastest at 388, followed by Zam at 384, followed by Grief 363, and then Mando and Aura. So technically speaking, that same turn order as before should on paper work, because Grief is second fastest after Zam and Bosk, and after the mass assist from Bosk, Grief will be able to do his mass assist, and then Mando will go next and then annihilate someone. But in practice, what is actually happening, and this is the reason this counter is getting screwed up, is first turn Bosk gets a taunt, Zam is the next fastest, so she does a special. You wouldn't want to do the special with her, and she gets 10% added to her added to the contract due because she's buffed. Boss does a mask assist. 50% of a contract is fulfilled over there, and because he calls everyone to assist, everyone gets turn meter if Mando crits. Now, the TM gain from Mando critting with the excess speed from Zam bonus is actually causes Mando to go in front of Grief. So you can see over here with the 30% TM gain on the 340 effective speed, my Mando would be effectively at 485, and my Grief with a 15% turn meter bump would be at 427. So this is a problem because by the time Mando gets his first turn, the contract is only at 60% or maybe at 80% if aura is faster. So the contract is not fulfilled, and Mando is not able to execute someone on his first turn. And that's the main problem that a lot of people are facing. Because the turn meter gain generation with Zam's Omicron is making Mando way too fast. What are the ways to solve this? I mean, so basically, after that, what happens is Grief tends to go next, and he does a mass assist, and only then is the contract fulfilled. And in Mando's second turn is when he gets to annihilate someone. Now, how do you solve this? I mean, there's many ways you can do this. You can either, if you want to solve it in modding, it's going to become extremely complicated. You have to basically slow your Mando down or reduce his crit chance to almost nothing so that it doesn't crit, which is counterintuitive. Or you can speed Grief up quite a lot or speed Bosk up. But there's a simpler way to do things over here, and that has to do with what abilities you use on your bounty hunter. So the way that you want to do it over here is the correct play is you start with Bosk, you taunt. You can do the special with Zam, there's no problem at all. But Bosk, if you do the special with Zam, Bosk immediately gets a turn because he's got Frenzy. And at this point, it's very important that you use the basic from Bosk. Do not use the mass assist. If you use the basic from Bosk, then the Mando's basic is not going to crit and is not going to get additional turn meter. And if his effective speed will still be at 340, and Grief will still be faster than him if you don't use the mass assist from Bosk. Then what happens is Grief is the next fastest because he's 363 and Mando is 340. We really don't have the additional TM boost from Grief yet. Then you do the mass assist. The very first mass assist should be from Grief. So you do the mass assist from Grief, and then what happens is if the if the enemy that you're attacking is debuffed, then Aura will get to go next because she's gaining 35% turn meter, the 15% from Mando and 20% from her basic, which if she's attacking a debuffed enemy, she gets another 20%. So even if your Aura is slower than the Mando, because she's getting a 35% speed bump, there's a very high chance that she will go before Mando. And if that happens, it's good for you because you've got extra chance to contribute towards your contract. So she does her first special first, and then she does a basic. So that adds 20% more to the contract. So at this stage, you are at about 90% in the contract. And then if your Bosk is, if your Mando is at 85% speed of your Bosk after effective speed, then Bosk gets to go next, and then you can do the mass assist with Bosk, and then you get the contract. So essentially, this is a much easier way to control the TM gain in the bounty hunter way, so that you can ensure that in the Mando's very first turn, he has his annihilate ability ready and he's able to take someone out, because the last thing you want is for because between the last thing you want is Mando's contract to not be available on the first turn and then have to cycle through the whole thing again and have it available in the second turn. But because between the first two turns, a lot of things can happen. If your enemy Nest is there, she can go and annihilate someone. If the Darth Revan is there, he can go and inflict fear on everyone. Tons of things can go wrong. So you want Mando's contract to be available on his very first turn, and not using Bosk's mass assist is one way to ensure that that happens. Now let me show you guys briefly how the gameplay actually happens. Now this is from my last Grand Arena, and you can see over here the way that we've set up. My Bosk is fastest, so he gets to taunt first. And there's so far the contract is at 0%. Now Zam, since she's the next fastest, she gets to go. And what I do over here is I use a special ability. I love to pop those thermals out over there because it just gives so much extra TM to Zam and allows her to do so much more damage. So I do the thermal ability from Zam, which is great. And yeah, let me just repeat that. Yeah, so Bosk taunts and do the thermal ability from Zam, and then uh, and then over here I have the option to either do the Master Assist or use the basic. At this point of time, I decide to do the basic. So do the basic, and you can target anyone that you want, as because Bosk is buff, so he will contribute towards the contract. So I've done the basic now, and you can see over here there's 20% uh, contribute on the contract, 10% from Zam, 10% from Bosk. Now I do the mass assist from Grief, and I can target anyone that I want. In this case, I target Zam, and I do the mass assist. So that's another 50%. So now the contract is at 70%. And you can see because that target was debuffed while I was attacking Zam, Aura got to take the turn before Mando or Grief because Aura is at she gets 35% turn meter, and she gets to go next. So I'm at 70%, and I can contribute another 20% to my contract, one special by Aura and one basic by her, and I'm at 90% contract. And you notice over here because my Bosk is uh, uh, is faster than Django, than Mando by about 15%, 15 to 20%. He gets to take the next turn. So Django's 30% TM boost that he gains, that is not enough to offset Bosk's speed. So because he's got frenzy, he gets to go next, and his turn meter is effectively more in overflow than Mando. He gets to go next, and I get to apply the Mass Assist. You'll notice over here, even if the aura was slow and she did not go before Bosk, it would still be fine. Mando would still have the contract because Bosk Mass Assist is going to apply 50% towards the contract. So even if your aura is slow, this turn order is going to work perfectly fine. You'll notice Mando still hasn't gone yet. I do the Mass Assist with using Bosk, and with this you can see I get everyone. I do another masters, manage to almost take out another character, and because and why is Zam taking a turn right now? Because Zam is using a basic and popping a thermal. She gets 20% turn meter for every bounty hunter ally which is there, so she gets 100% turn meter. So she gets to go next. So there's tons of things which are happening before Mando even gets to go, all to ensure that by the time Mando goes, he has his contract ready. So Zam goes again, and I end up popping another thermal, and there you go. Mando now gets to go, and he gets to annihilate somebody with his special ability. So tons of turns happen. My bounty hunter team takes so many turns and ensures that the contract is out before the Mando gets to go on his first turn, and that will basically ensure that you've taken out the danger before the enemy team has even a chance to move. And now the rest of the battle is very easily controlled. Since you've got the contract, you can do whatever you want with Bosk. You can keep popping thermals from Zam, and getting additional turn meter. Every mass assist that you do, Zam keeps getting more and more turn meter, and effectively taking tons of turns. So this way you ensure that you don't have to wait for the second turn for of Mando to come around. Now, what are the speeds that you need for this particular strategy to be effective? It's obviously going to differ because different people have got different mods set up for each of their bounty hunters. But I did some rough calculation. You need Zam approximately as fast as Bosk. Even if she's a little slower, it doesn't really matter because her speed, her speed only matters in giving bonuses to the other bounty hunters. How much it matters is Grief and Mando. Now, Grief should be about 90% of Boss speed, or even if he's a little bit slower than Boss, it really doesn't matter. The main thing is Mando. Mando should be about 85% or about 80% slower than Boss. If Mando is about 80% to be safe, if he's about 80% of the speed of Boss, and if he's modded with tons of crit chance, and you can go against an opponent who can be crit, then this strategy has a really good chance of working. As long as Mando is about 80 to 85% or less than 80% of Bosk's speed, this strategy is going to work perfectly fine, and Mando is going to go after Bosk has a chance to do his mass assist. So that's basically the essence of the strategy. Another way of doing this is you taunt with Bosk first, and instead of doing a special with Zam to trigger Bosk's frenzy, you can do a basic with Zam. And then, since Grief is the next fastest, he will get to go next and do a Mass Assist and get another 50% turn meter and get a 15% towards the contract. And then, if Bosk is appropriately faster than Mando, if Mando is like 85%, 80% or less speed than Bosk, then he gets to go next and do another Mass Assist. And then you've got 110% towards your contract. Then, it doesn't matter if Aura goes or Mando goes. Mando will have his contract by the time this comes around because two Mass Assists have happened by then. So that's essentially what I wanted to make this video about. Hope this is helpful for you. You don't have to change your mods if you want to, keep using your bounty hunters without Zam. You don't have to change your mods at all. You just have to change the way in which you use your specials and your basics when you use Zam in GAC. Using the same mods that you have without Zam, you can basically do this thing with Zam, and be able to reach Mando's contract on the very first ability. So that's it for me for this video. Hope this video was useful to you. I will catch you guys soon in my next GAC video. Until then, take care and happy gaming.